Hey, welcome to Flight Test. I'm David and this is Josh.
Hi.
Today we're building the FT Racer.
Yes. If any of you guys watched the FT Slinger episode where we made our versions of Rip Slinger and also Dusty Crop Hopper, that was actually based off of your design, the FT Racer.
Yes, it was.
Except two different canopies, huh?
Yeah, that's the only difference really, and it changes the look completely.
Yes. Now, you guys wanted a speed build kit? We got it for you. We had a huge outpouring of requests for the speed build kit.
Yep.
And we're gonna make that happen, but we also have the free plans, so you can either go to our website, download the free plans, or order a speed build kit. We have both. During this video, we're gonna show you both how to build the bubble canopy
and the racing canopy.
And the racing canopy, yes.
The characteristics of this plane is it tracks like nothing else.
Yes, it's on rails. And like you said, when you went down low to the ground, it just had that beautiful lines to it.
Yeah, you don't have to fight it. It just goes perfect.
Not pitchy at all. Really great pylon style racing airplane. You can go from a beef motor all the way up to something obnoxious and have great performance, and this doesn't change the characteristics whatsoever.
Time to build.
Time to build, but we need to build the pod first.
Yes, build the power pod, center up your servos, put the linkage stoppers on.
Yeah, how many holes out do you go on the linkage stoppers?
On the third hole.
Third hole from the screw. So get those all done ahead of time. That'll make your build process a lot quicker. Get your materials in order and we'll get started. So brother, what's our first step?
We're gonna do a double bevel on this leading edge here.
Just like all of our other fold-up wings, right?
Yes.
This can also be done with sandpaper.
Yes,
so
you can.
If you don't want to use a razor blade, just use sandpaper. Probably about 120 to 200 grit on a block of wood will work beautiful.
Now, do not bevel longer than that on the leading edge there on the top.
That's awkward.
Yeah,
that makes a fragile leading edge because the outer tips of this are under cambered. So for this matter, we're just going to go ahead and crack this loose, hold it 180 degrees. Once again, you can use sandpaper for this and simply sand a 45-degree angle to it, but I'm going to go ahead and use a razor blade. Use a brand new sharp razor blade for this step. Otherwise, you're going to get a real jagged edge and you don't want that. And if you go between this middle surface and you end up putting a hole in this area, don't fret about that. Just put a piece of tape over there and it'll be just fine.
You don't have to bevel that far either because you don't need more throw than that.
You don't need more than 12 degrees really.
Yeah.
This is a very swoopy airplane, so it's not 3D, you don't need 3D throws.
Exactly.
Spars?
Spar time.
Ooh.
And we're using wireless.
Yeah, this is cool. So,
yeah, go ahead.
Put it in there for you?
Yep. Like usual with the spar, just squish it. Yeah. Nice and tight, and
you don't need to put a huge amount of glue on there either.
No, you don't, because there's no strain sideways later. If there is some glue squirting out on the bottom, remove it now while it's hot instead of later when it's cool. It's easier to do when it's not dry. And we're gonna shove them in the holes.
Yes.
And usually you need to squish this a tiny bit so it fits in easier.
A little bit of a friction fit, but we don't want it loose, that's for sure.
Yeah. No, it's not gonna be loose, but. Okay. Yeah, you don't have to add glue on the front here. That's just going to be awkward later.
Okay.
You don't have to fret about the weight on this plate because the more weight you have, the better it's going to penetrate. Next step is to take a barbecue skewer.
Alrighty. I'll just pull one out of the small parts pack here.
Yeah.
There you go.
And what I do is I take the blunt end and I go over this crack here.
Yep, that's a 50% score cut. We used to actually have it on the plans marked as a crease, but it actually works better now as a 50% score cut.
Oh,
just doing what you did. Oh, that's okay. Because
so,
you can do that a lot cleaner.
Yeah, so that's so the foam actually bends in the right spot. So what I usually do here, this is the leading edge, and what you want to do is you want to form that nice and gentle. So I usually keep this on the work surface, and then you bend this over. You
that
work
rocking motion does a lot.
Yeah, don't go in one solid motion. It's gonna stress the foam and the paper more than it needs to. That's pretty good. And then now that we made that fit perfect.
Establish your leading edge.
Yeah. So do a dry fit before you do anything else. So what you want here is this spar to lay flat against that surface there and all the way down, and watch the other end here, it's supposed to lay flat on that end too. Now as you can see, the spar is straight on here, but the wing is tapered, so that's going to be on that edge and the other edge on the back edge. There's two techniques you can do. Either you can crack this open and fill it with glue, hold it over. If you have a weak hot glue gun, I recommend doing that step. So we can do that on our first one.
Okay.
So we can actually form the wing before, so we can crack that open a bit and fill that with glue.
Oops.
Why we wanted that in there is to form that piece really nice. And
nice thing is it actually locks in. So say you do a lot of wingtip launches or a lot of crashes, eventually without that, the paper will detach from itself.
yes.
Now in smaller wings, it's not nearly a big a deal because everything's so compressed, you'll never bust it up like the baby blenders and those kind of wings.
Yes.
But these ones with the bigger spans between the cracks,
And this adds strength to the wing too.
immense amount.
Yes. So I would recommend doing this, but this, you can do this if you have a good hot glue gun, you can do this step simultaneously. Okay, next step is to install the servo.
But there's a sticker on there, isn't there?
Yes, there's a sticker and everything. I made a little mark here so you know where to put the servo. And run the servo wire on this side.
Yes.
Because it's going to be easier
Going towards
later.
the leading edge.
Yes. So let's remove the sticker and scuff up the surface.
Actually, I usually just take a razor blade and just do a couple carves in it. And now, what's the minimum size servo extension you recommend?
I do recommend a 12 inch.
This one's quite a bit longer than what we need. This is 19 inch.
Yes, but it's nice. I mean, a longer one is just makes it convenient for you. What I do is add a little dab of hot glue to the servo extension, so there's no, even if you pull on it, it's not gonna pull directly on this and make it disconnect, and it keeps this from rattling. Next step is to add glue on the leading edge and on the top of your spar.
Very good.
This is to ensure that you get ample of strength.
Yeah,
in your
especially
wing.
on that leading edge there. That really makes it strong and keeps
Yes.
that leading edge formed really nice.
So, nice,
That's
good.
nice, healthy amount
Yeah,
of glue there.
and add some glue on the servo too, because that actually helps in the tip of the wing. So,
You know.
fold that over, push it down. Next step is to fold this backwards, crack that up. And then we're gonna add glue here and on the back edge here. So lay it down on with the top here. This way is easier. So you lay the wing upside down and you squeeze it down nice and tight.
You're also putting a little bit of round, I noticed, to this now too. Doing it that way. Is that intentional?
Yes, you can see there's a slight roundness to it in the tip here. That is more or less intentional. It ended up.
Accident
It was a happy accident that actually helped the performance.
Okay.
So just leave it like that.
Yeah,
That's
don't
fine.
stress about that.
Yeah, that's fine. Next step is to join the wings. And the wings have dihedral in them, so you have to make sure that these two lines up nicely. Unfortunately, you can't tape on the bottom.
Yes.
Because you can't fold these together, you have to slide them in. So
But you can tape after they're dried.
yes, you can,
Perfect.
and that's something we're definitely gonna do. Before that, we need the dihedral gauge.
Okay.
This is just a 90mm high piece that you're gonna put under one of the wing tips while it's drying. So another good tip is to take some tape, lay it down on your work surface, and let your wings join above this, because it's like a wax paper. Instead of gluing your wing to the work surface, you just glue it on this and it lets loose really easy.
Nice.
There is a little space in the back here. What I usually do is I take my barbecue skewer and I squish this surface a bit. Not much, but just so you
do it on
get,
both sides, it works a lot better.
yeah. This makes it join a little cleaner. But instead of adding that as a cut, this adds more surface. So when you join them together here later, you're just gonna squeeze that.
Push it together and life is good.
Yeah. We're gonna add a lot of glue in here, on here, and around the whole seam.
So make sure you have a full glue stick.
Yes.
Don't use low temp glue. I know they don't sell that as much anymore, but low temp glue will give you a lot of issues.
Especially on a hot day.
On a hot summer day.
And also it dries so much quicker than the high temp. The reason why we're using a lot of glue on this is because it dries slower as well. It gives you more time to work it.
Yes.
So there's a lot of glue here. It's going to squirt.
It's a sloppy mess.
Yes.
But you like it that way, don't you?
Yes, it's fine. And grab the wingtip and squeeze them together. Let it squirt out everywhere. And then if you have a friend, they can squeegee it for you. You can do it yourself too when it starts drying. Thank you very much.
No problem.
And now is a good time to check the angle here. So we want 90 degrees, so push it down a bit. Oh, is it still there?
It's still there.
Yeah. So you can have that sitting under the wingtip. Now just let it dry. As you can see, there's 2 holes here. Those are the CG markings.
Yes.
So that's where you're going to hold your fingers to balance out your plane before you fly each time.
CG is very important on all the planes. If you want to get the performance, throws in CG
is the
make
key.
a big difference, yeah.
And as you can see, they're on the top, and the reason for that is it's a low wing plane, so it's really hard to balance it when it's upright.
Yes, very temperamental.
Yes, so you flip it upside down and you balance it. It's much better.
Oftentimes we just have a laser etching for that, but because the laser etching would be on the inside, cutting holes is a really good idea.
Yes.
Because it gives you a very good defined spot.
I cannot stress this enough. Leave it for a long time. When you use this much glue, it takes time for it to dry or cool down because it's hot glue.
Yes.
Now this is stuck to the work surface, but it's actually just stuck to the tape, which is really nice. So, wow, that's really stuck.
A rotational twist will usually help you a lot more. You really did a good job on that. There you go.
Rotate and rotate.
I wonder if part of it went over.
There we go.
There we go. I think part of it went on the building board there.
That's not very pretty, but
it's okay. There's a reason why you don't have to worry about that, right?
yeah. And it actually makes a really nice joint on the bottom there.
Yeah, it does. The glue can't really seep out too far.
So put tape on it. Reinforce.
Doesn't have to be exactly centered, right?
No.
Use your little dihedral gauge as a squeegee. What do you say?
Yeah, that's already used up. It's good to go. Shove the wires in here and tape the connectors just beneath the surface. You will be able to get them out easy.
You can actually do this, right?
Yeah.
And just stick that tape down.
That's beautiful.
That's fantastic. All right.
I'm pretty sure you can do a better job, but hey,
Well,
welcome to Flight Test.
so our next step here, now that the wings are joined and everything, is to finish it off with these end plates here. Now to finish off with the end plates, take your 90-degree angle here and simply put it on the very bottom of the wing, because it's kind of hard to get it flush against the bottom. And then simply take a bead of glue, just like that. And we've done the same thing with the baby blender and all these other planes. So this should be very common for you if you built our planes before. And then just simply press it on. Now what this is going to do is going to add an immense amount of strength to your wingtips, won't it?
Yes, that is the main reason for it. So it adds strength to that little piece on the side and also keeps the air from spilling out from that pocket.
Super. So you have the benefits of the undercamber, but not the spillage, because you have very tiny ailerons on this too.
Yeah, they're small.
Super. So once that's done, you can trim it flush, which we'll do in a second, but go ahead and do the other side while this one dries.
Yes. Usually what I do in the front is I glue that at a little piece of glue and I fold it in.
Nice.
And burn your finger.
Ah.
Okay, cool. Your wing is done for now.
Yes.
So, next step is to build a fuselage.
Yes.
So put this aside.
Okay, so we got our fuselage pieces. You're going to need some formers, right?
Yes, we're going to need the formers too. So, I'm just going to pop these out. They're not needed. So, there's a B-fold in the center of the fuselage, just like the Spitfire and such. The folding technique here is the same as the Spitfire. So you're going to fold these two up and that folds over like a lid. So remove the...
The cleaner you can remove this, the better.
Yes.
So if you're building this at home and you're going with the 50% score cuts, if it's not coming out clean, go over a little bit more with your razor blade. Try to get it down as close to the paper as possible. because the cleaner you make this cavity, that's the word, cavity.
Cavity!
The cleaner you make this cavity here, the better it's going to fold up for you and the more square the edges are going to be.
Yes, and that's always nice.
Yeah. Also, even with the speed build kits and everything, oftentimes I like to run over it with a razor blade too, just because it just kind of finishes it off and makes it pop out so nicely. But you didn't do anything and it popped out super clean.
Yeah, I usually fold it over, make that parallel so that little piece sticks up. And then you just pull that forward and it releases so nicely from that.
Very clean.
Yes.
But just to reiterate here, the B fold is different from the A fold because the side of the fuselage goes next to the bottom plate.
Just like on the picture.
Just like on the picture.
Keep these pieces in here. Do not cut them yet because they add strength and yeah, just
when you fold it.
Yeah, they keep everything straight when you fold it. There's a little score line here. If you don't have a speed build kit, I highly recommend taking a ruler across here, then dragging like the tip of the barbecue skewer over here.
Just to establish a crease.
Yes, because you want to decide where the crease is, not the foam. If you have the speed build kit, all you have to do is just pull that up real gentle.
It's already been done for you.
And it's done. You don't have to do anything more because the paper is already weakened from that little cut that we had there. Glue. Don't be afraid of the glue, as I usually say. I know you can get away with much less, but...
You can see Dave and I have very different building styles, but they both work really well.
How would you do it?
Huh?
How would
I
you
actually put a very minimal amount of glue in there.
Oh yeah? Nice.
And I also favor the side, if it's a B fold,
Yeah.
I'll actually favor the side that's folding against. So I'll actually put it mainly 90% of it up against that cheek.
Cool.
That way you don't have the rounded bottom on there. But I saw you push down real hard and actually squeezed a lot of it out.
Yes. So measure this, make sure it's 90 degrees.
And hold it there.
Time for the top piece. And this is gonna go on the inside and then it folds straight into...
It is a B fold as well.
Yes. So
generally with our designs, if it's the fuselage starts with a B fold, it'll end with a B fold. I can't think of any so far that are different than that.
now that would be awkward.
Yeah, that would be awkward.
So just add glue here and here and here.
There you go. And so now you probably want to take some careful time to make sure that this is down as flat. And you can even take a piece of foam.
That's a good idea.
Just drag it right over top of that and see how it drives that all down? Here, I'll let you do that on that side if you need to.
Yeah, just drive it down and this squeegees the glue
The nicer
out.
you can make these edges, the more square it's going to be, the stronger it's going to be. Because like you said, you displace all that glue and you get that surface tension or the surface area meeting really nice.
Yes. So it's a good idea while it's drying to make sure everything is still 90 degrees.
Yes.
Oh, look at that. It's perfect.
Beautiful.
It's like a car commercial.
This is considerably wider than your previous Spitfire.
Yes, it is, because that's the design of the plane. So, as you can see here in the front then, it's so wide and there's a taper to it.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do
bevel.
is going to just fold those side cheeks in and glue these two. Next thing is to glue the bottom here, the fuselage. I'll show that. So that's going to fold down a bit and the side cheeks are just going to push in real nice here. What I usually do is I lay it sideways on the building surface here.
Nice.
Really nice.
Now, if you did everything right, these should meet very nicely in the middle.
Yes,
correct?
they should. So I think that's pretty acceptable.
I think that's really good.
Now you can see there's a lot of different formers and I'm going to start with the fat one.
Okay.
And that's going to go in here. So what I usually do is twist that and then you're going to push that in. And that little key helps you get it in the correct
Turn
spot.
like a door, huh?
Yeah. And just like I key that in, and push that. There we go. And
Do you have some reference marks in there, or does it just
No,
go up
just-
against the fold?
just against the fold and nice and straight, and then squeegee off the excess glue.
Nice.
That's really nice. And while that's drying, we can take these, the small ones. You don't have to care much about these. What I usually do is just push them in, make sure they're in the middle, and just leave them be. They're there to form the poster board later. They don't really do much else.
And the last one here, I'm taking you're going to put it down both sides here. Is it going to go in front of the line or behind the line?
I usually go on the line.
Right on the line, centered up?
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. It's within tolerances. So, yes, there's 2 lines here, as you can see. And I'm going to put that on the line. And there is space here, so you're going to squeeze the fuselage together, holding that in place. Make sure that you don't see either of the lines. It's going to be nice and straight. I just hold that.
Mainly because it's being held by the bottom, but there's nothing to hold the top, so it's not like you're pushing it in. It's just because the foam wants to go back to being separated.
So, exactly. It's just to... This actually stiffens up the fuselage nicely.
Immensely. Yeah.
But it still leaves ample amount of space for running wires underneath.
Very good.
The servos in the back. So, that's how far we're going to go on the fuselage before we put the wing in.
Nice.
So the next step is to put the wing in.
The wing?
Yes.
Not the tail surfaces?
Nope, not yet. We'll do that later because that's going to be decided by the wing itself.
We're going to match it up to the wing so it's parallel, right?
Yeah. So now it's time to remove these pieces here so we can slide the wing in.
Now, we kind of folded a piece of tape, but you got to pull this out, and you want it to be secure. You don't want it to dig in with some pliers or anything.
Yeah.
So I just took a normal piece of tape, taped these 2 together, a little sticky part, and then fold it over the rest so it's dull. And that way we can just stick that right there like that, and then all we have to do is just pull that little tab, and it's going to come right out for us.
Nice.
Okay.
So let's shove this in here. Usually what I do is I keep it against the work table. And you just work it slowly.
Take your time, don't force it.
Yeah, don't force it too much. A little bit, it's fine. There we go.
The rocking motion actually does an immense amount of good because you're taking any resistance and you're kind of localizing it.
Now there's a line here in the front and one in the back. You want those to line up with the center of the wing. So you want that spot on there. And then you can watch in the back as well. So you want that straight in the center. There's a gap here in the front and the back.
Yeah.
That's because the wing is wider in the center, so the sweep...
As it passes through, you have to have it meet that cavity.
Yeah. So we're just going to fill that with glue later. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Now we're going to glue the wing in place.
Yeah. There you go.
Like here.
Where do you want to start, with top or bottom?
I usually start with the top, and then we go over it, and that makes a nice...
That radius is really good for that.
Reload!
And I'll cut you...
I squeeze in some glue in the front here.
That'll lock it in really nice.
That is ridiculously strong.
Yeah.
I can tell you when it's dry. And I usually go over and add a dab there and a dab in the bottom.
And this is where we're not going the same as a Spitfire. Spitfire, we had it where you could put a rubber band wing on.
Yeah.
But this is a speed plane. We're going to be going fast. If you're flying this, you probably aren't crashing as much. So...
Yeah, yeah, I didn't see any value in actually adding that. That would just...
Make it weaker.
Yeah.
We don't want to lose a plane going 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, so just glue it in. It's fine. Now it's time for the tail surface. The tail itself.
You want me to bevel one?
Yes, bevel one. So crack that, and when you bevel stuff, always bevel towards yourself.
Yeah.
It's much easier, and also...
Very not what you normally think.
Yeah, keep it slow, but instead of holding the razor blade straight, keep it at an angle because you get twice the cutting surface.
Now you guys probably hear some background noise, and you're always talking about background noise. This is my background noise. This is my dog Max.
Hello, Maxie.
And he looks like a girl right now because he had Lyme's disease and he had tick bite, so we had him shaved really short. But he's really upset because my wife left, so that's where the background noise is.
So let's do a hot glue hinge then.
Alrighty.
If you're insistent.
I think we should. I think it's a responsible thing to do. Alright, and not everyone has a squeegee, so we'll just show it with the foam.
Yeah, sure.
Do not put a lot of hot glue down.
No.
Very, very little.
A little bit more than nothing.
There you go.
It's a little bit
Yep.
like that. Whoop. And be quick about this.
Yep.
Take that, squish nice and hard, and squeeze. Wow, I had a lot of glue.
You had
on there.
more than you needed.
Yep, I was in the zone. So yeah, squeeze that out, remove any excess.
Another technique you can do is hold it so it's just a slight concave like this. See that little cavity? That way your tip's gonna ride right on the center here. And really tight. I only go about 2/3 of the way. And then I just flatten it just a little bit. That gets most of it off.
You want a ridiculously thin layer.
Yeah, and really drive it down right into the center.
And into the foam.
Yeah. You can even follow up with a little bit of talcum powder.
What?
Or baby powder.
Oh.
Because you know when it gets hot, it gets sticky again, right?
Yeah.
That'll dull it out a little bit.
Oh, cool.
So I frankly don't do that because it doesn't last long enough.
Because we don't have baby powder. So yeah, let it dry properly before you even try cycling it.
Yeah.
Because if you go too fast like this, it's gonna stick. So
it's awkward.
Yeah, even though it feels dry, it's not. Take your tail. This looks kind of weird, but it's fine. So you slide that in. What you want to do is take your 90-degree angle, and I usually tack this in place on the top here. And that's it, because you get the strength later. So just a little bit of glue on each side, and
Sorry. I'll plug it back in for you. It's always nice building with a friend, actually, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Oh, I'll just throw that on the ground. So make sure everything is nice and square and hold it there.
I like how you rhymed there. That was pretty good.
Yeah, I laid down 6 rhymes when I beat y'all.
Can you breathe into the mic?
So yeah, just hold it there. Oh, I got a funny joke.
Okay, what's your funny joke?
Oh, it's so cold. I'll go stand in the corner. It's 90 degrees there.
Ah,
You got that. Now that is dry, nice and straight. It's time to put it on the plate. Now, you see these two?
they're pinchy.
Yeah, they're pinchy, so you have to hold that out. And there's a key here on the bottom that needs to go in between there. And there's 2 little key, what do you call those?
Tabs?
Tabs on the top here. So it's pretty funny. You have to squish the fuselage together here on the top because it bows out.
But you pull it out in the back.
Yes.
Does that give you kind of a nice pinch?
Yes. Okay. This holds it really nicely in place while you work at it. Look at the wing and make sure the tail is squared towards the wing in comparison with the wing. You want them. You don't want them crooked like that.
And if it's slightly off, the nice thing is with the foam board, you can kind of crush it down. You can crush on the side that's high.
Yeah, you can just move this around a little bit, and
the glue's gonna lock it in place.
That looks good. Put some glue on the bottom. Now what you want to do is lay down the right. Squeegee that out, and I usually just glue one side at a time. Make sure everything is nice and straight.
You only have to do it once.
Yes. Measure twice, glue once.
No, you want to glue the other side.
Yes, glue the other side. Squeegee. Nice. I don't want to put that on the 90. There's stuff everywhere. And double check again. It's all nice and straight.
But what would we do without hot glue?
I don't know. The world would end. Last thing you want to do on the tail is lock it in place in the bottom here on the keel. Separate that a bit. And I just shove that in and pour kind of a generous measure of glue.
Because you're all about hot glue.
Yes.
There you go.
Time to install the servos.
Servos, and we need extensions for these too.
Yes, let's see, you need at least 12 inches.
12 inches.
At least. Go longer if you can't afford it.
Well, because ultimately you want to be able to access it for the pod.
Yeah.
And so that just barely makes it up in front of the wing so you can make your connection. So if you have a little bit longer, you're okay.
Yes. You want the servo horn to go down and the servo wire going out in the front.
So this is going to be this side, this is going to be this side.
Yes.
Okay. Now, would you recommend possibly putting some, we have the nice little clasp that hold on to it.
Yeah, usually if you don't have this little clasp on here, I usually take a piece of tape and wrap it around both like that. That is very nice because it secures. What happens if you pull out your power pod and you have the receiver in it and it pulls out in the middle, and that's very awkward.
Yeah, you got to do some digging then.
Yes. So, time to install the servos.
They do make a really nice little servo extension with the actual clasp, which are very, very strong.
Yeah, that's nice. Now the servo holes are
slightly smaller.
Yeah, they're a little bit tight. Hold a finger on the back end is easier.
Yeah. That's because when the laser cuts, it actually makes relief. You see your paper, but the foam melts away because of the heat of the laser.
Yeah.
So we try to size the inner diameter to the proper size. The paper is going to be a little bit thin.
Yeah. A couple of drops of hot glue and pretty much good to go on the servos. So let's glue the control horse like every other plane. Just shove it in and glue it.
Yeah. I like opening up a little bit of the cavity, and then once you're happy with the fit.
Yeah. Always test fit stuff. It's common courtesy. So let's install the push rods as well. I would recommend putting the linkage in the hole closest
to the hinge line.
Yes. This way you get a lot of throw.
Okay.
And it's nice to do when you're doing aerobatics. You can go on the second hole for a more trainer, less throw kind of thing, but this is what I usually fly, and it's pretty good.
Okay, I'm just going to cut this about 1/4 of an inch beyond the hole there. That way what we can do is we can pull this back and then slide it through.
Yes.
There you go.
The only servo that's different on this is going to be the elevator. You want to install that in the second hole to get the proper throw.
Okay.
So the second hole and the third hole from the screw on the servos is a really good place to be. You don't have to fly this with rudder. You can just skip cutting that or just gluing it solid.
Yes.
The rudder actually doesn't do much.
Gives you a little bit of knife edge abilities.
Yeah, I mean it's nice to have it.
Yeah.
But not everyone needs it. You can definitely fly without it.
A lot of planes that are flown pylon style very rarely use rudder.
Yes. Now, the next step.
This is the most exciting step of all, right? Or probably the most serious step.
The serious step. Yeah, there's a lot of poster board going on this plane.
Now, depending on how you want to make it look, right? If you want with the bubble canopy, it's a little more complicated, and with the front air scoops, it's a little more complicated.
Yeah.
Without, not nearly as bad.
No. So, this little tiki guy.
That's a little tiki guy.
We need this piece. That's the first part.
Okay.
That's going to go in the back. So, if you cut the poster board yourself, there's a grain to the paper. Make sure the grain is the right way. Yeah. Because it's much harder to bend one way, and it's going to crease much easier.
It'll crinkle on you. Yes.
Yes. So test it first.
Yeah. Whenever I'm doing a turtle deck or any kind of use with poster board, what I'll do is I'll get this place where I want it, and I'll center up the two sides. Once I get the two sides centered, I just put a little tiny dot, little reference dot, on one or both sides. That's going to tell us where we want it to go. The reason this is important is because I'm going to remove this. Now I'm going to put a tape hinge. I'm going to actually put a piece of tape down here and then stick it to that reference line. That way we can open up, put a bead of glue, and then fold it around there. Otherwise it can move and really mess up our day. And I'm going to go down to our reference mark, and keeping this as flat as possible, I'm just going to press this. Now they have different types of tape. One's matte, and I'd recommend, see how this is glossy here?
Yeah.
The matte finish actually hides beautifully. Okay, so we'll just open this up like this. And now this is where I want to, you take your hot glue gun, don't just put a healthy bead. Push the nose of your hot glue gun hard up against the foam at a 90-degree angle. And I'll show you what happens here. Almost puts like a tape ribbon. See that?
Yep.
Really nice and thin. It's going to dry incredibly quick. Now don't worry too much about this guy. Just simply fold that over and press firmly. Wrapping with poster board, the first time you do it's very intimidating. Afterwards, it's cake.
Yes. It's nice. You get used to it pretty quickly.
Yeah. So you can see that this rests just about against the stabilizer, right?
It does. It's supposed to rest against the stabilizer. Nice. That's the stabilizer on this is lower down than on the Spitfire.
Yes. So we just turned it around. We're going to go ahead and do a test fit here. So we're going to wrap this around, and you can see it goes right to our little reference mark, just beautifully. Now before we put the glue here, we're going to go ahead and put another piece of tape on this, and only go back to where this little notch is right here.
Yes.
What I like to do now, though, before I go over this, is I'll put a bead of glue here, here, and then that ribbon very last, because that ribbon glue is going to dry really, really quick.
Yes.
Then I'm going to pull this over with even pressure, and then as I'm pulling over with both hands, then push the tape down. Now I'm forcing this down as I push down here too.
And then the tape is going to help you hold it in place. You don't have to constantly hold it everywhere.
Yeah.
But you can go over and squish it.
Exactly. Run down with your hands, run over these guys here, Make sure everything's met. And for some reason, poster board, when hot glue meets poster board, it dries so quick.
It does.
I don't know why. It's just crazy. And this back end here,
I usually add a little dab of glue
you
on
just
each
smear
side.
it in, right?
Yep.
Beautiful. It's amazing you can take poster board and do what would take lots of stringers and monocoat and shrinking.
Yeah.
And it looks very, very smooth.
Next, we're gonna do the front turtle deck, and there's some markings here, and those are there for the
Air intake, right?
The air intakes, yes. So if you're gonna go with air intakes, you need to cut these beforehand. So go ahead and do that if you're gonna do the air intakes.
Now, if you're not doing the air intakes, would you recommend flipping it over so those marks are on the bottom, right?
Yes,
so that
you don't see them. Yeah. So usually, I even do that now. I flip it over.
Nice.
And then I fold that down. Same technique as earlier, but you're gonna do exactly like you did on the Spitfire if you did that before. You're not gonna do the front part until you're done with the
back part.
Yes. You line this back up with that former.
Okay.
And then this is automatically gonna form.
Gonna kind of push together.
Yeah.
Okay, super. Once again, going back, we're gonna make marks. This time I'm gonna make marks on both sides, since this should really be parallel. Just put a little dot there. All right. So we have our marks.
This is a pretty simple
You can see
one.
I'm pulling the tape away just so we can get to our marks, and I'll let the tape lay down over top of it.
And you want to be at a former, so there you go. Perfect.
Right there?
Yep. Perfect.
This is some really good tape.
It is. When it's on, it sticks.
It sticks really good. Okay, that looks good. Another piece of tape on the back. Okay, super. We're gonna open this up all the way. I'm just gonna do, since it's such a small area, I'm just gonna do this all in one shot.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do the top formers first, since that glue takes longer to dry. Go here, push up hard against it, 90 degrees. Make that thin little band. And I'm gonna go right here, 90 degrees. Thin little band. You can do this like we did the previous one, longer if you really wish. Now I'm gonna pull right in the center, pull right over that former.
Pull it nice and tight.
Nice and tight, pushing down and letting the tape seal. And we'll go down it, just like that.
Now you can see you're just at the top of the hole for the barbecue skewer.
Yes.
And the tape is going to help you protect that hole from wear and tear.
This front here?
Yep.
We're just going to take careful consideration to make sure that this is as even as possible going down.
Yes.
So our air scoops are nice and even, right?
Yep. Just push it down, tape on both sides, glue on both sides, you're good to go.
And there's no former in the front to worry about.
Nope. Just
like the Spitfire.
Just like the Spitfire.
A couple rounds of glue here. Inside. Just pull that down.
Nice. Very nice.
Okay?
Yep. I think we're good. Looks very nice.
And we'll just hold it in place. Look how much it transformed the whole look of the airplane so quickly.
Yeah, doesn't it? That really, the last poster board piece is just makes a huge difference.
It does. There we go.
Now we're gonna cut the excess off the front here.
Pair of scissors?
Yeah, a pair of scissors would be nice. What I do is I ride the scissors on both sides so you get a nice straight cut. There you go down. Very nice. And what I actually also do is I take a small piece of tape and wrap around this edge here.
So it doesn't come up.
Yeah.
Very smart. Now what, are we going to go towards the canopy or are we going to go towards the intakes?
The intakes first, really. But if you're not doing the intakes, this is your speed canopy.
Okay.
As you can see, it's incredibly complicated. All you do is you line that up in the back there and in the front, and you just glue tape that down, and you have your plane.
Then you're done.
That's it.
And you could even put the scoops on with that canopy.
Yes, you could.
Doesn't matter.
Yep, doesn't matter, but let's do the scoops now.
Okay.
This is the air scoops. Pretty simple piece, and what you're gonna do is, before you do anything, you wanna round these off. Nice and
You can even take something like a hammer's handle or a screwdriver handle.
Or the edge of a table.
Edge of a
and
table.
Just Make it,
Really bordering
work
on
it,
origami, aren't we now?
work it, work it. There's a kick in it. That's gonna go on the top towards the middle. And as you can see, there's our cuts, and this cut goes into the foam. So we need to help that out a bit by cutting into the foam. This is gonna help you keep that former nice and stiff. What you want to do is take the piece with the straight here and shove that into that bottom like that. Then this is going to go into this slit here. There you go. And that's, I usually glue this with CA glue.
Oh, okay.
Actually, because as you can see now, it wants to pop up. You can tape it down if you wanted to, but I usually go over just with a small amount of CA and glue the edge to the poster board.
See, if you take your time, you could even do hot glue, but you'd have to be really good with hot glue.
Yes, this is the most awkward step in the whole build process because I couldn't figure out a really good way of doing this.
Well, and every airplane is going to be a little bit different too. So if you have a cookie cutter way, every turtle deck's going to have a slight variance.
Yes. So
Yeah, really,
this is
just getting it glued down is the most important thing.
Yeah.
So before you glue it, I'll go ahead and put the other piece in. Slide this guy in. It looks like you're going to favor the top and get the top molded and then let the bottom fall wherever it's going to be, right?
Yep, that is right, because you can see the kick ends just on that
line there.
Yes. CA glue.
CA glue.
Use medium, I do believe. The thin is going to get everywhere.
Okay, so we're just going to open this up. I'm guessing we're just going to put a little, right?
Yep. Either you stand around and wait for it, which is the cleaner way, because it's not gonna
discolor your paper.
Yeah, but you could use accelerator if you wanted to.
Nice thing is this is very porous, so the whole thing is it has to thin out before it dries quickly.
Yes, and it works pretty well.
Look at that.
Without it.
Nice clean. You want me to do the other one, or do you want to do it?
No, you do it. Well, you're on a roll.
I think you have an agenda behind here. This apparently must be a high stress part, right?
It is kind of, it's boring and you have to pay attention.
So I'm just gonna, I just rubbed it back and forth a little bit on that poster board, let it touch.
Perfect.
And then we...
Yeah, you don't need much glue, really.
Very, very thin bead. And truthfully, you could do this with hot glue.
Yeah.
It's just thicker.
It's going to be more awkward. This gives you time as well.
So let's see. We'll just go ahead and put a bead. I'm just going to put it just right here on the edge, just
a tiny bit, hold it in place. Because you don't want the air movement to grab it and pull it out. That's going to be awkward.
There we go.
It's better for it to hold it.
Just bring it in so that point goes right into that cone.
Yep. So you can see on the bottom, if I flip this over for you, there's an opening here. Either you can glue that down, or you can leave it open so the air coming into the hole have somewhere to go.
You're going for speed. You know, this is looks, this is not performance.
Yes.
So decrease your drag, which means leave them open.
Leave them open or don't put them on at all.
Don't put them on at all. That's why on your speed version with the really slanted canopy.
Yeah, I didn't put them on.
Yeah.
I just left them on. So that's, we're actually going to leave them like that.
You're going to leave it blistered open? Okay.
Yes.
So this is going to be the hardest of the canopies, right?
Yes, the bubble canopy is the canopy of the canopy. I usually start out with this one. This is the hat part, the top part, or
the top cap.
The top cap, yeah. So there's a reference line here. What you're going to do is slide this portion over to that reference line.
Very good. And then glue it down?
Glue it down.
I'm going to go over a little pass, and then I'm going to drag it back to our reference line.
Very good technique.
It spreads the glue the way we want it.
The problem with hot glue is you have to be quick because it dries really quick on this.
I don't know why it does do that, but boy, it's strong when it does dry.
Yeah.
So there we go. Now your goal is to match up the bottom.
Yes. So if you match that on both sides, and that's going to make everything so easy for you. Both that line here, that line there, and that line there and you should be good.
You know, it may not even hurt to put actually a piece of tape down just below that ahead of time, so then you can tape it, and if it's not right, you can release it without pulling apart the paper.
That's a really good idea.
You want to try that?
Yeah.
This will also fasten on the turtle deck underneath a little bit better as well. There we go. Ooh, awkward noise. Alright, so we put a little piece of tape just a little bit below here. Now we're going to go ahead and put tape on your awesome bubble canopy. I really like the energy. He put a lot of heart into this. Okay, so where does this tip go? Does that go right at the hole?
Depends. Try it first. I think I angled it because otherwise it touched the hole.
Okay. So let's see how that fits. There we go. Now I'll go around to this side. Now, whatever happens on this, you can actually see I was off by a little bit, but it doesn't really matter as much. I'm gonna go down, I'm gonna go close to that reference point as possible. Match that up. Looks about right there. And then this back end's right about here. How's that look to you?
That's pretty good.
Once again with the awkward noise. We're gonna look at the hat, I guess?
Yeah. Just test fit. See how that looks?
Now, what's your opinion? You're the...
That looks pretty good to me. I usually match it up to the back there, depending on what look you're going for. Because if you wanted to look like a cap, you can make it further, or if you wanted to look sleeker, you can go
further back.
Yeah.
Nice. I see what you mean.
What I do is I tape these down and glue them, actually. So
this actually bulbouses out a little bit like
yes.
this. Okay. Let's go ahead and do that. It's getting very bulbous there.
Well, that's fine, because the cap covers it really nicely. You see that? That looks perfect to me.
Wow. Well, David, I gotta say you're right. Now we're just gonna pick where we want this to go, right?
Yep.
How about right there?
That looks pretty good to me. And what I usually do is I CA this on as well.
You're gonna CA that on?
I do that because there's always gonna be small gaps everywhere. That actually, yours is really good.
Cool. Well, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna start here because this is kind of puckered. I'm gonna glue this down since we're happy with that, and then I'll come over top of this and then glue this down, and then we can float in something here and here. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know what? It's all about new steps, new techniques, and we haven't used CA yet in this process, so I kind of like it.
Usually, you want to stay away from CA
and foam, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna just go ahead and use this as kind of my guide
to hold it down.
To hold everything down, just so I make sure that I'm pushing on the right spots. And I'm not gonna move until this is done, because if for some reason I glued my fingers to it, I'd much rather have a stronger bond to the paper
than
to my fingers. Yes. Otherwise, I'm just gonna pull it apart. So this is a good opportunity too. If anyone's building this and they come up with a better way to make this,
yeah, please share.
We love input, and we love the fact that you guys share techniques and design improvements on what we do. That's our whole goal, is to make this hobby better. So please don't hesitate to say, hey, I found a better canopy method. We'll definitely adopt it, give you credit, and make it happen.
Yeah, we're no better than anyone else, really. We're just stumbling around in the dark.
We're very blessed to have the opportunity to be the ones talking in front of the camera, but we're not ignorant to the fact that there's much more people more talented than us. Okay, that looks really good now, though. Look how nice, and I like CA on poster board.
Doesn't that work nice?
I think this is going to be more of a staple. So now it looks like we have a nice overlapping area around this area and this area. So I'm going to put some CA down there and there.
Now the CA doesn't build any height. It just goes into the pores.
It's non-filling.
Yes, non-filling, that's the word. So the problem is with the hot glue when you do this is that even though you push it down all the way, if you're not fast enough, you're going to have a little bubble. Looks pretty good to me.
Here.
There you have it. Bubble canopy all done.
It is done. So our next step is going to be to install our power pod in there. And this is exciting because this is where it really starts getting on the home stretch. But this is pretty narrow.
Yes, it is. So
there's going to be a special way you're going to want to rock this in. From the bottom here.
Yep.
It's going to go up. We're going to let that back end kind of trail against the top. And then just a little bit of pressure there. Then it's up and in. Get this centered in to the holes. And then flip the whole thing upside down so it all stays there.
Now, in our eagerness, we forgot to add the barbecue skewers. You could add that before you do the the turtle deck. It's easier, but it's fine. We can still do it.
It's okay.
Yeah.
We do that a lot. We get eager and we do it. So we're just going to take this pointy end first with a rotational. Now, if you've done any of our other swappables, this is truly that.
Yeah. You can't do a swappable without doing this.
This is a staple in almost every single one. I think the only one that it doesn't matter on is the cruiser, because it has 2 points that go through it. There we go. Now we have that. You can go ahead and take that out.
It fits so nicely.
We're going to cut roughly 1.5 inches on each dowel. And this has really no strength to it. All this is an alignment. This is to keep the motor from wiggling up and down. The skewer in the back actually is what keeps the motor in.
Yeah.
And what was that watt motor on the speed version?
That was, I was running around 800 watts on it.
Okay, 800 watts held in by a barbecue skewer. It didn't come apart.
No, it's fine.
So don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You know. And also, in the case of a really bad wreck, you want that to be able to break free.
Yeah.
All right, little tiny dab of glue in each hole.
Yep. And as usual, rotating force, shove it in.
So our next step is to install our receiver. We're going to go ahead, and David's going to fly this, so we're going to put it on his Aurora. Now, David, you're not playing on flat-brons, right?
Nope.
So we need a Y harness. You got me a Y harness?
No, plug them in and
Oh, you're going to...
separate channels anyway.
Look at that, he's going to go
I
separate.
have 9 channels. Why not use them?
For anyone out there that may not have a 9-channel radio, you will need a Y harness to join the two together. Now, this is my elevator, so I'm going to plug it into number 2. My rudder is going to go into number 4. And then finally, we have our 2 aileron right here.
Channel 1 and channel 5, please.
So channel 1 and channel 5. This is the benefit of having long enough wires to get all the way out.
It slides in so easy.
Don't say that! When you're trying to put a 50 amps ESC in it. It's in.
Nice.
There we go.
Now, shove the stick through the hole. Oh,
If everything was right, it should line up, right?
should line up, yeah. Feels pretty good. Yeah.
Very
Yep.
nice. Let's take this through.
Take this through to the other side. See what I did there?
You just put a song in there.
Yeah. I'm pretty cultivated.
I wonder, what if you just took a little drop of glue?
Ah!
I know, I'm out of control, aren't I?
Yep.
Look at that. Now it'll go through only one part. Okay, so we're ready to power it on?
Yeah.
There we go.
Nice. What's going on right now? Oh, everything's working.
Nice.
you go.
So now the important thing, we have all of our controls centered up. Balance.
Balance CG is important.
And throws, of course.
Yes.
Now, if you listen to us, most radios will give you the proper throw right out of the box, right?
Yes.
With this.
But yeah, with a 2200 shoved against the wing, it balances. Perfect.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
So, good to go?
Nice. Now, when in doubt, a little bit nose heavy is always better than a little bit tail heavy.
Yep.
So just keep that in mind. If you're going to have a very light battery and you're not sure, put it all the way at the nose. At least you'll have more of a lawn dart than a squirrely
flip back.
plane. Yeah.
Okay, let's go
Okay.
outside and fly.
All right, Dave, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. We want to sincerely thank you guys for watching. We sincerely hope that you try this build out. It's a great plane.
It is. Try it. Take photos, take videos, post it on our site.
Give us your feedback.
Yes, share your experience. If you come up with a better canopy, please share.
Bubble canopies are really a challenge, but you did a great job on it, brother.
Thank you.
And the plane does fly like it's on rails. And it's definitely great. It's like none other plane that we have in our arsenal so far. So good job.
So thank you. And keep on watching, keep on giving your suggestions, and we'll see you next time.
We listen to them. All right, see you next time. Let's put another battery through it.